I'm sure by now many of you have heard that President Trump has ordered bombings in the northern regions of Nigeria. Now I'm seeing a lot of my brothers and sisters of the Christian faith in Nigeria rejoicing and excited. And I understand your excitement, right? Because you guys have had these terrorist groups terrorizing you for decades and decades. But I don't want you to miss what is truly happening behind the scenes, because a lot of times we'll see the fruit of an issue, but never get down to the root of what's really happening. What you're seeing in Nigeria is one big facade. That rhymes with something, doesn't it? It rhymes with Mossad. You know, I don't want you to get comfortable thinking anybody in America, any political figure that is rooted in the system will ever have your best interest at heart, because they will not. Just 2 days ago, on December the 24th, as I was doing some grocery shopping, the Lord stopped me in my tracks to release a prophetic word. In that prophetic word, he told us that the year 2026 was going to be the year of the militant. Within less than 24 hours, or about 24 hours on Christmas Day, we are seeing the manifestation of that exact word coming to life, right? A few things. There was a clarion call that went out in 2019, 2020, and throughout the pandemic, alerting those people that had ears to hear in the spiritual realm that Africa was next, that Africa was rising. So now there is a global scramble for Africa from all of the Western nations, because they understand that prophecy is being fulfilled according to Revelation chapter 18, which talks about Babylon falling, which is the prime location for Babylon falling is going to be the United States of America. And I want you to read through that very carefully. So all of these nations, right, they're scrambling for pieces of Africa so that they can continue on with their lineage, that they could have land, they could have, you know, the natural resources that they desire. So just like Venezuela, Nigeria is no different. They're not coming to save you. President Trump does not care about Black Christians. Black Christians, really? Everyone is playing a part in prophecy, but God shall get the glory from it all. So let's dive just a little deeper into what the Lord was saying for 2026, right? He said it was the year of the militant, that we would see sleeper cells rising up, but God's prophets would also be rising up at the same time. So a sleeper cell, what is a sleeper cell? They are hidden terrorist groups in particular locations that are waiting for the alarm so that they can activate, so that they could follow through with their commission, right? And just like the demonic side has sleeper cells, God's side has sleeper cells too in the kingdom. You know, in the kingdom of God, we also have sleeper cells. It's called the remnant, right? The elect. They're being activated in this hour to rise up against these principalities and these powers and these rulers in this dark world. The other thing I want you guys to remember is history always repeats itself, right? So a lot of times we look at the fruit. We're looking at the people going into these Christian churches and shooting and bombing and doing all of this wicked, wicked stuff. But my question to you is, who's funding these people? Where are they getting the guns and the resources from to complete these missions? Might I remind you, back in the late 1500s, the Portuguese came across the Gold Coast, also known as Ghana right now, Elmina Castle. They came with gifts, they came with tobacco, they came with guns, they came with just all of the exciting things that they desired in that hour. They met with the chiefs, they befriended them. And some of the chiefs, not all of them, but particular groups, decided, the Europeans are asking for some Black bodies. We're kind of hungry. We need to continue to build up our agriculture. We desire to eat today, not realizing them eating today is causing poverty for tomorrow. So they let the Europeans in. They take the drugs, they take the tobacco, they take the food, they start doing, the exchanges. But when those Europeans came on the coast of Elmina, or the Gold Coast, also known as Ghana right now, they came for a particular group of people. They did not want everybody. They knew who they needed and who they wanted. They took only particular tribes. Those particular tribes were sent through the transatlantic slave trade, dropping some off in the Caribbean and in Jamaica, where my family is from, and then coming up to the Americas and dropping off another group, where there was 400 years, over 400 years now, of slavery, where women, children, families were ripped apart, sold to different plantations, treated harshly, beaten, raped, abused, manipulated, and slaughtered on trees. All for capitalism, all for money, all for goods and services. Well, history is continuing to repeat itself. The Western nations are scrambling for Africa to recolonize her again. That's why, quote unquote, militant groups, 2026, the year of the militant, groups like, Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, the president there that is leading a global revolution, is such a threat to the West. That's why, anybody that opposes Western beliefs and stand up for what the God-given spirit within them is saying is right, that's why they're being opposed. That's why they're being fought so hard. So the ones that, bow down out of fear, out of wanting resources, out of wanting to secure their generations to come, not realizing they're not really securing their generations. They may get the money, they may get the stuff today, but in generations to come, the people are suffering. That's why people like Ibrahim Traore, and that's why people like the Marcus Garveys, that's why people like the Bob Marleys and the Malcolm X, and even the Martin Luther Kings, not the beginning side of his journey, but the one that they assassinated, is such a risk to democracy. What you see on the surface is not always what it is. And what the enemy meant for evil, God is going to flip this thing for our good. But my brothers and sisters in Nigeria, rejoicing that President Trump has come to bring you help. He has not brought you help. What this is going to do is going to activate even more sleeper cells being funded by particular groups of people that do not look like me or you, to come into your region and to pay the people to do even more things. This is your time to unite. This is your time to pray. This is your time to know who your true God is, because he says he is going to do great exploits through you. And yes, I am a believer of Yeshua. Yes, I believe that the Lord sent his only son to die on the cross for my sins, but I am not going to side and be a fool with the religion of Christianity that is out here slaughtering people, throwing rocks and hiding their hands and saying this is democracy. Absolutely not. We haven't even made it to 2026 yet. And the word, it's here. And it's going to get a little deeper. And my time is about to run out on TikTok, so I will definitely do another video so we can go a little deeper in the things to come and what's happening now. But we do not live by the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. I also want to remind you too, Revelation chapter 11, God is going to raise up 2 witnesses that are going to come upon the earth and torment your tormentors, torment the systems, the policies, and the territories that have kept his children bound. And these 2 people, when they say a thing, everything shall be established. When they speak out their mouths, all heaven and earth has to back them, in the mighty name of Yeshua. Have a great day. Be blessed.